Welcome to Life in Red.
So pleased to be joined by my guest today, Samantha. And no, I should have done this before I turn on the microphone, but here we go. How do I pronounce your last name properly so I don't make myself look like an idiot?
Don't worry about it. This is a question I think I get maybe every day. It's Baugnon, Samantha Baugnon.
Samantha
Yes.
Baugnon. Well, pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I know in your bio, you are from The Greatest Show. You were in The Greatest Showman with the piece. And we're going to talk about that because that is one of my favorite soundtracks and movies of all time.
Me as well.
Literally so good. But I wanted to ask, I've been getting more up to date with how the entertainment industry works, but I've only really spoken with people from Canada about it. So you're one of my first kind of like entertainment professionals from America and Hollywood and LA. So it's very exciting.
Yay.
How has the last, 18 months, 2 years been for you? Because I know in Canada, we've been through lockdowns and stuff, but in the States, it's been a little bit different. So how have you been doing? How's everything been going?
It's been, good as anyone can say it's been going during this time. A lot of craziness ensued. Funny enough, during the past 18 months is when I joined this production company, K Factor Films, with Nikki Koss was our founder. And right before lockdown, we finished shooting a movie that just came out. So surprisingly, I had a lot of good things come out of this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I very much tried to take everything and see the positive side of it. So I'm like, okay, we're locked down. I went home for 2 months. It was great to spend time with family for a little while and then kind of got back into it. But yeah, everything in LA and everywhere else, I guess New York too, shut down for, I think maybe until the end of 2020. A few productions started back up again. And yeah, so it's been crazy. We were lucky enough, the movie we shot wrapped 2 weeks before everything locked down in the US. Yes, very lucky. So we were able to, do all the post-production editing, all that during the past 18 months. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. You mentioned that you started with this new production company and you had the new film out, which you finished, which is great, Night Night, which we're definitely going to talk about here in a second. But talk to me a little bit about this new production company, K Factor Films. What is your goal and what is, the mission kind of with this new production company, and why was it so exciting for you to join?
Yeah, so Nikki Koss, who is an actress and director, she directed the movie Night Night, her first feature directorial debut. She has been in the industry for quite a while, grew up in LA, and I actually started out as her assistant. Oh, wow. So I was her assistant for a few years just because she needed help with random everyday life stuff when she was on a TV show a few years back. And I just started producing some of the short films she was directing. And we met through an acting class initially. So she knew I wanted to act and get into all of that. And producing just kind of fell naturally into my lap. It's just what it all entails is just, I guess, my natural ability. And it was never something I set out to do. Came out here for acting specifically, which I'm still doing and pursuing, but producing is so much fun and it's been a new thing. But anyways, K Factor Films, we were just together in her childhood bedroom and she's like, so I think it's time, I'm gonna start my own production company. Like it was just, everything was lining up for it and it just made sense for her to do that. And she's like, yeah, and you'll be a creative executive at the company with me. And then she's like, well, if you want to, she just said it so casually. And I was like, of course I want to. Thank you for involving me in this. And then our two other partners, Ryan Delaney and Becky Williams, we all worked on Night Night together. So it just came together, and our mission is to create amazing projects, whether that be features, shorts, music video, that involve a lot of people that are typically overlooked in the film industry, whether that be women in general or just other people who may not have the same chance as a lot of people in the past have. So we try really hard to meet new people and give everyone a chance to show their true talent, because I feel like there's so many people here and in Canada and everywhere where they just don't get a chance and they're just so talented. So we have so much fun. Like, we had a premiere for the movie in St. Louis, and we're meeting all of these young filmmakers and videographers, and we just kind of take them under our wing, and we really catalog the people we meet, and we're all about personality. And if you're kind and you're good at what you do, we try to involve you in any way we can.
That's amazing. That's a great mission.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm obviously not involved in this industry, and when I look back at, the last, I guess it's been, 6 years, 5 years since the kind of the height of the Me Too movement, and we've pushed that forward. On the outside, it would seem there's been a lot of talk around involving women and having, Black voices play Black roles, and all those conversations on the outside. On the inside, with what you're doing, is it still kind of an anomaly where you have like a women-led production company, like led by women mostly on the executive team? Is that still, like, is it happening more? Are we seeing that in the industry, or is it kind of been like a little slower than maybe you would have liked?
I think it's definitely been slow, but we are lucky to come at a time when it is changing, because it is, and especially in the past few years when so many new things have come to light. And there's so many amazing projects now, and people are actually giving women specifically a real chance to get in the room. We still have a lot of work to do, because you can still go on so many sets and it's kind of the same male-led, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's many amazing projects with those people, but yeah, I think it's slowly changing, a little slower than we would hope, but it's been fun to, when we started this, I wasn't necessarily thinking like, oh wow, there's 3 women in the company and 1 man. And with Night Night, we had, I believe it was 60 to 70% women crew, which is also pretty unheard of. And so, yeah, we're just trying to bring women in, especially in the roles that women aren't typically, like with being a gaffer or a DP, or just any of the crew roles that are typically male. But we're not going to turn anyone away just because, like, oh, you're male and we want a female. We try to get the best person for the job, but we don't turn anyone away because of gender, which I think it's changing. It's just, I think there's a lot of work to be done still.
Yeah, the conversation is there, which is amazing, but to actually like implement it and make that just like kind of like a normal part of everything, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's entertainment, whether it's just the general workforce.
Yeah.
We're all becoming more mindful of it, but there's still a lot to go with all that. I want to talk about Night Night. Now, you are the executive producer, and I know this might seem like a silly question, but I don't know exactly what an executive producer does. And you said that really kind of fell into your lap as something that kind of happened naturally for you with your skill set. So when you say you're the executive producer of this film, what does that kind of entail?
Yeah. So, well, first off, I'm actually an associate producer on it.
Okay.
Our executive producer is Amber McNutt, and she was great. Yeah, there's so many producer roles. It does get kind of muddled. Executive producers are usually the investors in the films, and can be very involved in it or kind of take a step back. I was an associate producer on it. This was my first feature film to produce. And Nikki and Ryan were producers on it that are also in the company now. And then Becky, who is also in K Factor, was an associate producer with me. Yeah, so we producers kind of run the show. As I like to say, we're very involved from the beginning stages of acquiring the script to it coming out now. So with a typical film, we as producers are the ones, especially with the production company, we are the ones that find the projects we want to create. And then we, there's so many different routes. It's crazy how different each project can be. You can get investors, or, if you sell it to Netflix or something along those lines. And then from there, you cast it and then shoot the movie and then all of the post-production stuff until it comes out. So you're kind of involved in every step of the way, which is really fun because it's kind of like your little baby. You saw it as a script and then comes out, and hopefully it does well,
Right. So my apologies, associate producer.
Oh, no
so
problem.
When this project specifically came out, what was so enticing about it that we're like, this is the movie we want to make?
So it is a psychological thriller, and the main lead is a woman played by Brenna D'Amico, who's amazing. And she was in a bunch of these Disney Descendants movies. So this was her first adult role. And it really drew us in because it was Nikki directed it. So it was directed by a female. It's a fun kind of psychological jump scare, what's going on in this world thing, but also led by a woman. So it was just really fun to do something a little different, because I feel like there's not a lot of psychological thrillers that have that woman-led element with also Nikki's amazing aesthetic and vision. It just came together really cool.
So you just did the premiere, and I know it's out on a few places. You can rent it on Amazon Prime, iTunes. It's playing in some select theaters in the United States. What has reception been like so far? How was the premiere?
It was so much fun. We premiered in LA, and then I was just in St. Louis. One of our producers is from there, and he did a big hometown screening, and it's playing in those theaters for a week, I believe, until next weekend. It has been so much fun because as producers, you're kind of just on your computer doing calls, doing Zooms for who knows how long, months on end, a year, getting everything ready and leading up to it, and then actually being able to enjoy seeing it on the big screen, or if you rent it, which is super cool, and seeing people respond to it has been so much fun. Because when you're so involved in something, you're like, I hope people enjoy it as much as we did. And it's been really fun because a lot of people have had interesting theories about the end. I won't really give anything away, but we've had a lot of different people be like, okay, so I have a question about this, and was this that, or that was really interesting. And that has been the most fun thing for me, at least, because I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of up for interpretation, and who knows, sort of thing. So it's been really great. We've been really happy with how people have been responding to it.
Yeah, that's one of the when you get movies like that where you kind of either leave it on a cliff or you leave it up for interpretation. That's where the conspiracy theories come out. That's what gets people really motivated to talk about it, because someone will have a theory and then people will start arguing about it. It's like, no, this meant this. I was watching an interview with I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but that's how we got connected, actually, with Peter, who has the Popternative podcast. And he was talking, he was mentioning that there's a lot of twists. So when we're talking about psychological thriller, like that's kind of what this is playing on, like really making the brain think about things in different ways.
Definitely, because the whole time you're suspicious, and you're like, okay, this person is doing these things. Why are they doing those things? And then something else happens. You're like, wait a minute. Okay, what's going on here? Are these things happening? Is it in her head? Is it this? Is it that? And I find those movies really fun. I'm really good at like predicting
Mm,
outcomes of shows and like, oh, that person is gonna do this, and all my friends get mad at me because they're like, I wasn't even thinking that, and like, oh, now you ruined it. Or it's just how my brain works. So I love those shows and movies that really you're like, I think I might know what happened, but then something else completely changes. You're like, okay, that keeps me very interested.
yeah, especially when you get into horror, right? You get into, I mean, different genres, but that it somewhat comes predictable. So when you get these
Hmm.
thrillers that you think you might know what happens, and you're like gonna predict that, and then you're wrong, and then this other thing happens, that it really can keep
Yeah.
you engaged and like moving forward with the plot.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And I think that's what makes it exciting. Like, I was not expecting all these people to come up to us after and be asking questions. And because, there's so many great movies, and sometimes you watch it and you're like, that was good. And then you leave it out the door. But it's
Mm-hmm.
been fun having people actually want to come up to you and ask, okay, why did this happen? Like, I really want to know, or this is my thought on it. So it's been really fun.
You've had another couple of projects. I mean, I mentioned The Greatest Showman, but
Hmm.
I did want to touch on the one that you won an award on that you produced as well. Um, I have it open in all my files here as I was learning all about you before our chat. But Then and Now,
Yes.
that you won. What was that project like? And I mean, winning an international film award at a festival must have been a huge honor for you.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Then and Now was the first short that Nikki Koss directed as well, who directed Night Night. And yeah, me producing it as well. It was so much fun, and I just love period pieces. And that one, it kind of switches back and forth then and now, um, between the 1950s and then like our time now in the 2000s. Well, I guess we're in the 2020s now. I was going to say the
I
2010s because this was 2019, I believe. And it was just a really fun little short film. It's just joyful to watch, and it just looks great, and all the old costumes and new. It's a fun play on how times used to be with dating versus how they are now.
Oh my,
So
yeah.
yeah, it was really fun with the festivals. And with stuff like that, we always intend to submit to film festivals, but you never know like what that year people are looking for or how people will respond to certain projects. So when we got that, and that one was the Madrid one, I believe, and then we went to the Burbank Film Festival and won Best Short Film by Women, which was like crazy. It was so much fun, and yeah, it was just it's cool talking about it now because when we were making it, we're like, this is just gonna be a fun thing to shoot.
Mm. It's what I love of like having this podcast is open this world to, chatting like people like yourself and other people now in the entertainment industry. And for so long, not knowing much, it was always like Hollywood, right? Like that's all we see, that's where the marketing money is. But then, learning about you like internet shows or these short pieces, there's so much fantastic art and filmmaking and all these other elements that are being done that like it's I you don't get the same fanfare, and like the general population doesn't always kind of find it, but there's just so much great work being done, especially with like social media and the internet. Like it
Yeah.
must be just, do you see that being just such a huge drive? Like it already probably is, but as we move forward, everyone's even streaming even more. Everyone's on their phones. We're getting iPhones that are better than computers. Like, do you really see like a huge future for this type of filmmaking and this type of art?
I do believe so, especially with I think with TikTok and
Oh,
how I love TikTok and I watch it way too much, but it has shortened my attention span so much, and I can tell. So I think those short form sort of things are becoming more popular, at least in the time right now. It's just a great way to let artists be very artistic, because it's usually a small budget, or like even people make these shorts, like they'll get their friends and then like a little bit of money here and there to like, oh, can you edit this for me? And it's just a great way, especially if you're starting out too, to just make what you want to see in the world, and not necessarily copy other people because you think that's what they want in the industry. So I think it's really fun. And yeah, it's crazy. There's all these shorts and all these very talented people on all sides of the cast and crew that these shorts may not get seen by the general public, but that's what is great about the festivals, is it's a little recognition for, we see what you did and what you made, and we appreciate what you're doing. So one day, hopefully soon, maybe people will be more attuned to those sort of short form platforms, but we'll see.
Well, you brought up a great point about TikTok, and I'm with you. I spend way too much time on TikTok. It is incredibly addicting and fun.
Yeah.
But like, it also made me think, as you brought that up, like, I mean, you made the joke about dating then and now. I don't know if you're in that scene, but like even Tinder now has like storytelling in dating, and it's like,
oh, is it the voice note thing? Is that
no,
what you're
that's
talking about?
yeah, that's Hinge. But like, so
Oh, right.
Tinder has this thing. It's like they have like swipe nights, and you basically like, there's like a story, and you kind of get to like choose what choice you make, and then that is based, it like goes into your profile, and it like will match you with people who kind of made the
Oh
same
my
decisions.
goodness. I
But
haven't
it's like
heard of that. That's
yeah, it's like
amazing.
totally like a story. Like you're following, there's
Yeah.
actors. Like there was one I did long ago. It was about like the end of the world, and you had, anyway. It's just, you're right about these short form and all these digital platforms now, that you're even able to have, people who are maybe writers or things like that work on totally unique projects on like these
Yeah.
Snapchat, Tinder, TikTok. Like there's so many interesting possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just going to keep growing and growing, and I don't know what it's going to turn into, but with every one making their own original content now, it's almost overwhelming how much content there is. So yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, Snapchat has their little, I don't know if they're still doing them, but I know for a while they had their little like 5-minute episode things and stuff like that. But yeah, that's crazy. I love the Tinder story. That's fun. That's almost like worse because they're playing into that like romanticized thing, but that's so fun.
As an actress, you mentioned about TikTok. Do you find that, like, do you have, whether it's external or internal pressure, but to also kind of make sort of like a digital footprint like that, like as like a content creator, to either market yourself or market K Factor? Like, is there a lot of pressure on like an actress and a producer for that type of stuff?
That's a great question. I don't have a huge following, so I don't feel a lot of pressure. I do sometimes I won't post for a while on, the main grid, as they say. And I'll be like, okay, maybe I should, because, especially with like movies coming out and like more things happening, I'm like, okay, maybe I should like give a little more insight into that. But no, I really don't feel a lot of pressure. And that could be me with, how I maybe have 600 followers versus some of my friends who have 1 million. I'm sure it's very different to feel like you need to put out that. I don't know if they put out a persona or if they just don't what that is. So I'm lucky, at least right now. We'll see in the future. But with our company, our Instagram is really fun. And with the movie, we have an Instagram for Night Night. And we just try to create an aesthetically pleasing looking grid, I guess you could say. But our whole, a big part of our vibe as a company is the visual. So with all the movies we put out in the content we do put out, we do want it to look really nice and good and like our brand. So I guess in a way that is a little bit of pressure to make sure that fits on brand for what we are. But between the four of us, I feel like we have it down pretty good right now, at least.
When you're looking at like aesthetics, is it sort of, I mean, I'm not a very good person of what the terms are, but is there like, you're looking at like, I remember talking with someone who was on Ozark, and like the filmography, it's just very dark, right? Like everything's kind of blue
Yeah.
tone, dark. And so you really feel the show, and like it really kind of plays in your mind this way. Is it like, it's not saying that you're going for darkness, but it's like that the types of things you're thinking about. Okay, so we have this film, we have this story. How are we also going to use our knowledge to sort of really catch it? Like, I don't know if it's subconscious, you know what I mean though? Like you're really kind of like thinking that deeply about how you want it shot.
Yeah. Yes. And that is all, especially with Night Night, that is on Nikki because she directed it. And
Right.
usually it's the director's vision. So whoever we go with to direct our future movies, whether that be Nikki again or someone completely different, where that we love, we all sort of have a similar vision, but then each director is so different in their style. But especially with this movie, it's just so beautiful. We have very unique, like how she uses the colors. Like we have this great shot of this pink warehouse that was already there, and then this pink truck, and then the guy sitting on top of it, and then one of the rooms in our lead's house is all blue, like blue tile and blue everything. So Nikki really played up on each room kind of having its own theme, but it looks very cool and natural. And there's just something about those sort of looks that kind of adds almost another character in the movie, where you're like, wow, that just looks so cool. And we even had someone, another one of the theory things, someone came up and was like, okay, there was so much pink in this one like scene, and then it came back into play later. What does that mean? Is it a symbol for something, like in The Sixth Sense or something, where they had I don't really remember, maybe it was red or pink or something they had. And I was like, that's more of a question for Nikki, because there could be an answer to that of why she chose to use this specific color here and there. But it looks amazing. I'm very happy and impressed with how it all came together.
So I mentioned Greatest Showman, and like I said, one of my favorite movies. The soundtrack literally got me through so much last summer. And I don't say it mildly, but it really did. It changed my life in a lot of ways, which we won't get into. But you show up in I believe it's the Million Dreams sequence. What was that experience like? Because that was was musicals ever something you ever thought about?
So it's so funny because I am a huge music lover. I listen to music all the time. Can't do anything without music. I can't just have like silence. I need good music playing, and I'm all over the place with the genres. And even if I wasn't involved in this movie at all, which it was very slim how I was involved, the soundtrack, like you said, is so amazing. I just watched the movie again, I think 2 weeks ago with my mom, because I was like, it's been a while and I really like I need this. So yes, the soundtrack is just amazing and like makes me tear up. And then also at the same time, I'm like, I want to, work out and rule the world.
Oh yeah.
Stuff. So it was so much fun. I was there, I believe, for a week, and it was out of time. It was a few years back, and I was just doing I was doing a lot of like random background work because I was still in the phase of getting into acting, and I just wanted to be on every set possible. So when this one came up, it was so much fun because like I said, I love music, but I cannot sing for the life of me or play any instrument. So I never thought I would be in a musical unless it was something like she's the girl that's not good at singing. I would gladly do that part. So it was so much fun. And then with the clothes were amazing. The period piece, like I said earlier, I just love playing in different periods, because it just makes you feel like you're in that character more, where they do your hair and you have the whole outfit and everything. But yeah, it was so much fun. And we were just there, and the director came up to me and he's like, hey, can you like be our girl who does this? And whatever ensued. And I was like, of course, I'm your girl, like I'm in. So it was so much fun. And it was one of those that just randomly fell in my lap, and I somehow ended up in a musical.
Aside from like being in it, what would you say your favorite musical is? Like, I mean, I've never gotten to go to Broadway. Have you had a chance to like go actually like catch shows and everything there?
In the past few years, have gotten so much into Broadway. I, for a while, worked at the Pantages Theater in Los Angeles, which is the touring Broadway here. So I got to see maybe 20 different shows in my year and a half, 2 years of working there. And it was so much fun. I saw so many shows. My favorite movie musical from as a kid was Sound of Music, because I would watch that all the time with my family, and just I love Julie Andrews so much. She's amazing. Yes, that was my favorite movie musical. I just saw Hamilton for the first time about a month ago, and that was great. As everyone says it is. Yeah, I saw so many, and I'm hoping to see more. Book of Mormon was really fun. It's very vulgar, but it's a fun one if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah, any of the classics. It's just I really thrive on seeing other people do what they're best at. So any sort of live music I love, and as well as theater and Broadway. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're just on kind of the start of getting concerts back in Canada. And seeing my first live show again in whatever it was, 16, 18 months. Like it was like such a surreal feeling, because you miss it like so much, and you don't really never thought about it until it was gone. And then all of a sudden it was just, I'm with you on both of those things: musicals, music, concerts, that energy, seeing a live performance, whether, people acting, and it's such like an energizing.
It really is. I always say it gives me life, because I feel like I feed off of the energy of everyone just being excited to be there. And they just started doing concerts again in LA, at least. I went to a few in October, and that was the first ones I'd gone to since end of 2019. So that was crazy to go back. It was so much fun. Now I want to go to everything.
Yes, just put all the tickets, it's fine. What's kind of next? What's on the agenda? You just released Night Night. Other projects you're producing? Are you acting? What can we maybe expect for you coming up here in the next little bit?
Yeah, so we this summer we filmed a short film for the production company. It's called Murder Mystery. So it's about this. Yeah, it's about a murder mystery party. But it's a short film, so that'll hopefully be coming out early next year. We'll see. Yeah, that one was fun because we have the authentic 1920s kind of flapper dress costumes, and our director, Philip Clark Davis, who has directed a few feature films, he was just amazing, and we're so excited for that to come together. We have a few other features we're acquiring right now, which will be very fun. Can't say too much about them right now, but hopefully down the pipeline soon we'll be shooting some stuff, and we'll have so much more content for everyone to consume.
Yeah, because you just farmed this year, right? Like 2021. So I guess less than a year, and you've already started moving on all these things. That must be so exciting.
Yes, it's so much fun. It's crazy how quickly it moves, because we formed in, I believe, the end of March, and it's just been go ever since, and I'm not complaining. It's just it's a fun time.
Oh, this was amazing. Thank you so much. Social media, website, if people want to like keep up with you, find that TikTok that you're doing. Where can people check you out?
Yeah, thank you. This was so much fun. I personally am at Sam Baugnon, and I will spell that because no one can say my last name. It's SAMBAUGNON. And then our K Factor Instagram is just at K Factor Film. Night Night Movie, also on Instagram. And then our website is kfactorfilms.com. You can check out Night Night Movie at nightnightmovie.com. So that is streaming everywhere now, and people can rent it, buy it, rewatch it over and over again, come up with their own theories. So I'm excited for more and more people to see it because it came out on Tuesday. So
yeah, brand
it's been a
spanking
little less
new.
than a week. Yeah.
Yeah, so congratulations on the release. Amazing. Congratulations on all the success so far. I look forward to checking out the movie and yeah, seeing what comes next. It seems like a very exciting time to be Samantha. So all the best to you for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was so much fun.